G'day everyone, welcome to a new video. It's a bit of a different style today. I have been grinding Japan now for a while, and I thought that I would share what I found to be the most useful, helpful metas in making guesses, and then hopefully using this we can all learn together and make better guesses together. So in this video I'll be going over like two different types of metas. So you've got the Japanese electric plates, which I think would be more commonly known, and then as well the Japanese transformers and insulators, which are really useful, especially when you can't see the electrical plates. But before I begin, all credit for this goes to these two documents. Firstly, the Guide to Regional Plates on Japanese Utility Poles and the Japanese Utility Poles Transformers. So none of this was my information, it was all found in these documents that I just learnt and hopefully can present in like an easy to learn manner. But anyway, the links to these documents are in the description if you want to look at them a bit more. Okay, so let's get into it then. So there isn't too much regional information to learn. You will need to know these 8 regions of Japan. So with these metas you can break it down into 8 different regions. Firstly you got Hokkaido, which is the most northern island. Then you go to Tohoku, Kanto, which includes Tokyo and the surrounding region, Chubu, Kansai, Shikoku, Chugoku, Kyushu, and then as well Okinawa is part of Kyushu, but Okinawa can sort of be treated as its own region because it's got different meta in that area. So knowing these 8 or 9 regions is important for narrowing down your guesses, because all of the meta will be related to these specific regions in Japan. Okay, so let's get into some of the meta then. I've got a map here, which I think I'll probably upload to Geoguessr and leave a link in the description if you want to practice it. But we'll start with the meta in Hokkaido. So if we go to the plate. Okay, so before we look at the plate, anyway, Hokkaido is pretty well recognizable due to like the cabbage leaves that you can find and also the arrows. But very often I've found, especially in duel rounds, you won't actually see any of those metas. So being able to identify the plates as well as the transformers is very useful. So firstly, you've got this NTT plate, which you find on pretty much every electric pole in the country. And it's got this little logo in the top left, which kind of looks like a circle with a tick through it. So we don't really pay much attention to those ones besides being able to recognize them. But up the top here we do have the Hokkaido plate. So the Hokkaido plate is pretty distinguishable from the rest of them, even if you can't get a direct view of it, because it is a bit of a longer white plate, and sometimes you can get it in a yellow variety. But if you can see it, you'll notice that there will always be 6 rows of 2-digit numbers. So that's why it's a bit longer than the normal NTT plates or the other white plates you can find in Japan, because it does have these 6 rows of numbers on it. So that's the typical plate. Again, you can find it in yellow. And up here we have what you consider to be the typical Hokkaido insulator. So we have the insulator here, and we're mostly interested in looking at the bars and the poles that support the insulator for this meta. So if you look here, we have a bar connected to the side of the pole that comes out and kind of looks like a cross or a lowercase t. So seeing this, you'll always be in Hokkaido. So this is a Hokkaido specific meta where you have a bar attached to the side of the pole that looks like a T. Now you can also get other variants of the Hokkaido transformer meta. For example, over here is another common one. So in this case we have 2 bars supporting the transformer. Now this also occurs in regions like the Tokyo region. However, there are differences between the two, which I'll show you when we go down to Tokyo. But if you have 2 bars, you should keep in mind it's either going to be Hokkaido or Tokyo, but you can distinguish between the two, mainly because in Hokkaido, when you have the 2 bars coming out, you'll also have a perpendicular bar, and it goes further than the first bar. So if we see here, we have the 2 rows of bars, and then the bars coming out perpendicular to it. We have one shorter one and one longer one, and it kind of looks like that Hokkaido cross or T that we saw in the first lock. So those are the 2 most common transformer metas that you'll find in Hokkaido. We do occasionally get this bit more rare one where you can have 2 transformers mounted on this rectangle bracket. It's not too common, but the square bracket is very common in other regions. So if you see a square bracket with 2 transformers mounted on it, you shouldn't rule out Hokkaido, and you should probably keep looking for other metas. But again, just to recap, so we've got the cross as well as the 2 bars with the perpendicular bars coming out, with one being longer than the other. Okay, so here's another example of the 2 bars coming out, but as you can see, it's pretty recognizable because you still got that kind of Hokkaido cross. Okay, so now moving on to the Tohoku region. So the Tohoku region again extends from the north, the most north of the main island, all the way down to Fukushima, not including this Niigata region here. So from Aomori all the way down to Fukushima. Now the Tohoku region has pretty distinguishable plates as well. So in this example here we have the normal NTT plate, and in addition to that we have the region specific plate, which is this silver horizontal plate. It's a bit more faded in this example, but you'll normally see a very silver plate here. Looking at it from a distance as well, if you see a horizontal plate with a vertical plate with a horizontal plate, that's a pretty good call for Tohoku. So if we look around here, we've got another vertical plate and a horizontal plate, so we know we're going to be in the Tohoku region. If you can't see any plates, so we do have transformer and insulator meta. So before we even begin looking at the transformers, a pretty useful meta for the Tohoku region is that they'll have these kind of like excess holding brackets. So on the side of the transformer here, you can see that we've got these like little steel squares poking out from it. So they're pretty common to find in Tohoku. It's not like a guaranteed meta for that region, but it is way more common up in the north of Japan to have these excess holding brackets. Now, in terms of the transformer meta, in the Tohoku region, you'll mainly find 2 different types of transformer setups. So this is the first one, where we've got this rectangle bracket attached to the pole that's holding the transformers. And then at the top of the bracket, you'll have an additional bar poking out at the top here. So again, we've got the rectangle bracket with the bar connected at the top. So, and sometimes it'll look like this kind of T shape, but it's not really too distinguishable anyway. If you see it coming out at the top, you will be in the Tohoku region. Okay, now the second type of transformer you can find is this one here. So you can also have the transformers mounted on this round plate. So as we see over here, we've got a round plate holding up the transformer, and then attached to the pole next to the transformer, there'll be this kind of bar that does a horizontal zigzag. So we've got round plate and then a bar which comes out horizontally zigzags. So seeing any of those 2 transformers is a pretty good guess for the Tohoku region. We look around here now, looks like we've got another one of the type 1 transformers where we've got the rectangle bracket and then the bar sticking out at the top. So again, the second type of transformer, and over here we've got the first type of transformer. So that's the Tohoku region. Keep in mind those things is pretty good for always being able to get this region as well. Okay, let's move on now to the Kanto region, or the Tokyo region. So the Tokyo region, as I prefer to call it, extends from Tochigi, so basically south of Fukushima, down to Gunma, Yamanashi, and then kind of like half of this Shizuoka region, and then Kanagawa and Chiba. So all of this area over here is the Tokyo region basically. So looking at plates first, you have two different types of plates that you can find in Tokyo. The first one I call the useless version. So here we've got the normal NTT plate, and then we've got this Tokyo plate, which I don't really learn at all because often you won't be directly in front of it like I am now, and it is very indistinguishable from other plates just because it's like a white vertical plate, which you do find a lot in the other regions. So this is why I call it the useless plate, because you can't really make any good region guesses based off of it if you can't get a closer look at it. Now we also have the second type of plate, which is much more useful. So if you open up this one here, again we've got the NTT plate. Just ignore this because this is a prefecture specific plate, but then we have the region specific plate for Tokyo. So it's a vertical silver plate, and it looks like the text on it has sort of been handwritten. So if you see a vertical plate with another vertical plate that's silver, that's a pretty good guess for going the Tokyo region. So this plate is pretty useful because often you'll be able to identify the silver plate from a far distance, even if you're not too close to it. So again, for Tokyo, you can find pretty much two main types of transformers or insulators. The first one we've got here is, well, from what I've seen to be the most common one. So it's again got those two bars which are holding up the insulator, and it's also got a wooden plate beneath the insulator. So specifically this wooden plate, it's very distinguishable from afar, so knowing that you'll find this wooden plate in Tokyo is pretty handy. And then at the end of the two bars we have this perpendicular bar which is pretty wide, and it meets like the end of the two bars. So we have the two bars coming out here, and then the perpendicular bar is mounted on the end of them. So if we go back to our Hokkaido example, which is this one here. So we've got the two bars, and then the additional bars is coming out like in another direction, and it's also, you've got one bar which extends longer than the other, and the bar going across meets at the furthest point for one of the bars, but it's kind of like in between for the other bar. So, and as well, you also won't have any wooden plates in Hokkaido. So that's the main way to distinguish between the two. In Tokyo, you'll have the bar going across that meets the end of the two extending bars, and as well, you'll have that wooden plate. So that's the first type of transformer or resistor that you can find in the Tokyo region. So the second one here is you'll have the transformer or insulator mounted on a round plate. So similar to the Tohoku, it's mounted on a round plate. However, you'll have it a kind of like a T-bar underneath it. So mounted on a round plate with a T-bar coming out underneath it. Okay, so if you see any of those two transformers, it's in the Tokyo region and you should be pretty close. Now the final meta, which isn't like related to the setup of the transformer, but you can find it pretty commonly in Tokyo, is what I call these like octopus arms. So attached to the transformer, there'll be like these extending rods which kind of go in like whatever direction, and then they've got these things, like I guess they're insulators or resistors attached to the end of them. So if you see these like weird arms sticking out of the insulators, that's some good meta for Tokyo. I wouldn't like entirely base my guess off it, but if you've got no other information, then that's a good kind of a good bit of information to use at least. So that's how you can region guess this Tokyo area. And let's move on to the next one, which is the Hokuriku region. So the Hokuriku region is basically three prefectures mainly. It's the Fukui prefecture, the Ishikawa, and the Toshima. Sometimes as well you can see it in the Niigata region, but it's mainly concentrated, the meta, in these three prefectures here anyway. So let's look at the plate. Again, we've got pretty distinguishable plate. Similar to the Tohoku region, you'll have this silver horizontal plate which goes across, and sometimes you'll also see the company logo, this kind of like a H symbol there. So that's the plate you'll find in the Tohoku region as well, but you'll also have a horizontal NTT plate. So normally for me, if I'm placed anywhere and I get a kind of glimpse at the plates and I see two horizontal plates, I will send this region here. Again, if you're closer, you can sometimes make out the logo and the NTT plate as well. And if they're both horizontal, go the Hokuriku region. Now we do kind of have some useful transformer or insulator meta. The main meta is that there is no meta. So if you see kind of all of the insulators and transformers with nothing special about them, and you have supporting evidence with like the plates or something like that, you'd probably go the Hokuriku region. The main distinguishing thing about these transformers is that there will be no like bar extending out. So you won't see any bar next to or attached to the transformers like you see in most of the other regions. And as well, this kind of like, I call it a microphone thing attached to the insulator, is also somewhat helpful for determining the Hokuriku region. But again, if there's nothing special about it and the plates also confirm that you're in that region, so we've got two horizontal plates here, nothing special about the transformers, now that's a pretty good send for this region. Okay, let's look now at the Chubu region, which kind of starts up here in Nagano, Gifu, down to Mie, Aichi, and also Shizuoka, like the other half of it that wasn't in the Tokyo region. So Chubu has what I'd say is one of the most recognizable plates anyway. If we look at it here. So we'll have our normal NTT plate and then the Chubu plate. You'll often see the logo on it as well, but the main characteristic that distinguishes it from the other is kind of these like rounded apple corners, you know, like the round corners. So instead of the rectangular plates that you see in the other prefectures or regions, they'll be rounded. So these are pretty distinguishable, especially if you're like not too close to it. If you're able to zoom in, you'll be able to see these rounded corners from far away. So again, plates are pretty recognizable. If you don't see it, we do have some insulators, some insulator meta which will help. So two types of insulators you can find in the Chubu region. Before we look at the insulators as well, pretty handy meta, if you can't really make out the insulators, is that you'll have these kind of black plugs attached to the transformers. So seeing these black plugs, recognizable from far away as well. So in addition to these black plugs, the first kind of like the identifier for the first type of insulator is that above the insulators you'll have this like triangle bar connecting them. So above we've got this triangle bar. Now the second type, gone to the Nagano prefecture here, the second type of transformer or insulator setup that you'll find is that you'll have an insulator connected to the pole and it'll have these thin brackets connecting it. So you see down the bottom here, it's kind of got these like very thin two brackets diagonally connected to the pole. So that is the other setup you'll find specific to the Chubu region. Again, we've got these black plugs over here, but again, pretty distinguishable for this area. Additionally, there's also another meta specific to the Nagano prefecture. If we come back down here, I might just reset. So if you come back down here, so we'll see again the Chubu plate, but then we'll also have a horizontal NTT plate. So if you see a Chubu plate with a horizontal plate, that is specific to just this prefecture here. So a really good way to pick up some points there, because it is pretty common to find on the poles the Chubu plate with the horizontal NTT plate in this prefecture. Like, it does come up a lot. So a good way to pick up some points there and for the rest of the Chubu region. So moving on to the next region now, we have the Kansai region. So that's kind of what's not the Chubu region or the Hokuriku region. and all the way down to Hyogo here. So that includes Shiga, Nara, Wakayama, Kyoto, and Hyogo over here. And also you have the, obviously the Osaka prefecture as well. So the plates here can be pretty difficult to distinguish from other, so as we see here, we've got the normal NTT plate, and then we've got the region specific plate at the top here. It's pretty difficult to distinguish from the other vertical white plates that you'll find in other regions. However, if you are close to it, what I found to be the most distinguishing feature is that you'll have these numbers written at the bottom here. So usually they're 2 digits, sometimes they can be a letter or something, but if you see writing from afar, if you see writing on either side, generally where the screws place, that's a pretty good identifier for the Kansai plate. But again, it can be pretty difficult to identify if you're not really close to it. Now, on the other hand, you do have pretty identifiable transformer or insulator setups. So let's look at them now. So the main type of insulator in the setup you'll see is similar to what we had in the Tohoku region. So we have the transformer mounted to this rectangular bracket. However, the main difference between the two is that whereas in the Tohoku region you'd have the protruding bar mounted at the top of the bracket, here in the Kansai region it's mounted at the bottom of the bracket. So if we go to the one we had in the Tohoku region, so as you can see here, mounted at the top of the rectangular bracket, whereas in the Kansai region, that's the other one, in the Kansai region it's at the bottom of the bracket. So this is pretty distinguishable and you can see it from a far distance as well. So that's the main one that you'll find over here. Sometimes as well you'll see that the protruding bar is also in this cross or lowercase t shape. You can also get this type of insulator as well, where you'll have, again, it's attached to a square bracket, it's attached at the bottom, but there'll be a vertical zigzag of the bar. So this can be pretty baity because sometimes if you have another transformer here, you can see the bar coming out, kind of poking out at the top of the square bracket. But yeah, it's connected to the bottom, just vertically zigzags up. So yeah, it can be pretty baity, but usually there won't be a transformer on this side, so you can see the zigzag, but always keep that in mind and try to look for other clues as well if you have the bar sticking out at the top. Okay, moving on now to the Chugoku region. So that's everything west of Hyogo all the way down to Yamaguchi here. So basically where it meets this island. So all of these prefectures here. Now we do have a plate which can be identifiable specifically if you're close to it, where the most identifiable mark will be that you can have this writing at the top which says Energia, which is the electric company name. So if you see Energia, sometimes you'll see bigger plates as well, but they'll all say Energia. Sometimes as well, if you can't actually see the plate, another distinguishing factor is that you'll have this yellow arrow pointing upwards on the pole. So that's specific to this Chugoku region. So that's the plate. Again, it's a vertical white plate, so unless you can distinguish it, it can be confusing with the other vertical white plates, but also look out for this arrow on top. So the insulator, if we go to an example here, so this can be pretty similar to the Kansai insulator, where you'll have the setup where you'll have the transformers mounted on this rectangle bracket, and the bar protrudes out from the bottom of the bracket. However, as you can see here, it's not actually attached to the bracket; it's attached to the pole. So that's it can be confusing with the Kansai one, but the Kansai one will actually be attached to the bracket. Now there are different ways to distinguish it as well, specifically these red numbers here written on the transformers. So that's specific to the Chugoku region. Also as well, you'll see these insulators attached, normally 3, sometimes 2 or 3 insulators attached at the end of the protruding bar. So if you get any combination of those ones where you see the bar at the bottom, you have red numbers, or you have these like insulators at the end, that is the Chugoku region and not the Kansai region. As well, if we go over to this lock here, another really good way to distinguish the Chugoku region is the bracket that the protruding bar attaches to the pole. So as you can see here, we've got this like full triangle bracket, I call it. So the bracket extends both beneath the protruding bar as well as above it. So you have it connecting below the pole and above the pole. So it's called the full triangle. And this is specifically useful for differentiating the Chugoku region and the Shikoku region, which we'll look at now. Okay. So the Shikoku region is basically everything west of this area here. So west of the Hyogo prefecture, so Tokushima, Kagawa, the Kochi prefecture, as well as the Ehime prefecture. So this kind of like island, I guess you could call it, in this region over here. Now we do have plates for the Shikoku region. If we look at these here, we've got, again, our normal NTT plate, and the main way I distinguish the Shikoku plates is that they'll have this special like logo at the top. So in this example here, it's like a kind of like a diagonally crossed T missing, or like a plus sign missing the inside. Sometimes as well, you'll see a different variant of this logo, which kind of looks like two chains linked together. But yeah, if I see like a special logo on the top of the plate, I'll always go for the Shikoku region. Now looking at the transformer and insulator setup, you'll see that it's very similar to the Chugoku region. So we've got the transformer attached to the pole, and then a protruding bar also attached to the pole beneath the transformer. So like I mentioned before, the main way to distinguish the two is with the bracket connecting the protruding bar to the pole. So as we can see here, I call it the half triangle. So it goes only beneath the pole. If we look at the example here in the Chugoku region, you can see that it has this bit going down beneath the bar as well as also above the bar. But in the Shikoku region, you'll have it just going below the bar. So this half triangle here. Another good way to identify this region in comparison to the other regions is that you'll have this white sticker with black text on the bottom, or sometimes on the side of the transformer as well. So using those two methods, very good for distinguishing this region, specifically apart from the Chugoku region, because usually it's a 50-50 between the two, but also from the other regions in Japan. Okay, moving on to the second last region now, we have the Kyushu region, which is basically where the other two regions cut off here. So from Fukuoka all the way down to these islands just north of Okinawa. So the plates in the Kyushu region can be somewhat distinguishable. Again, we have normal NTT plate, and it is a vertical white plate. So without a good view of it, it's indistinguishable from the other vertical white plates. But the main difference between this region specific plate and the other ones is that you'll have these 3 digits written beneath some Japanese characters. So you can see these 3 digits, like as you can see here, it's like 500 or something written horizontally, and you seeing those numbers sets you in the Kyushu region. Sometimes as well, you'll also see the company logo, which looks like a Q, or from far it can look like an O just above these numbers here. So that's the plate meta. Now taking a look at the transformer and insulator setup. So with the Kyushu region, you'll either have 1 or 2 transformers, and they'll be mounted at 180 degrees from each other. So normally perpendicular to the road, but in the other regions, you'll sometimes have them sitting next to each other. But in the Kyushu and also the region further south, which we'll look at, they're sitting 180 degrees from each other. So when you have that, you also have this protruding bar, and it's just like a simple bar in the middle of the pole, and it goes all the way out, and usually as well it'll have these 3 insulators at the end. So that's very distinguishable as well. If we look at some other examples in the islands here. So again, we've got the insulator. If there was another insulator, it'd be 180 degrees to it here, but we have the protruding bar with these 2 insulators. So we've got the transformers and then the protruding bar with the 2 insulators at the end here. Got another example down in this island here. So again, the transformers 180 degrees from each other and just a simple extending bar with some insulators at the end as well. So that is getting the Kyushu region. Can be pretty good points as well if you're able to identify that you are in the Kyushu region and it feels like you're on an island, because then you'd go anywhere from up here all the way down to here. Okay, now moving on to our final region, which is still part of the Kyushu region but has its own specific meta, is the Okinawa area. So that includes this island here and the islands that go further south of it. So the Okinawa plates, the main way I distinguish them is that they'll usually be like 3 plates on a single pole. So we have our normal NTT plate and then we have 2 additional plates. So the first plate has the area and pole number written with the characters, and then our second plate will have multiple numbers and lines. So as you can see here, we've got a first plate and then a second plate with lots of lines and numbers. Usually for me to distinguish it, if there's 3 plates on a pole, I will consider Okinawa and usually look for the transformer setup for like confirmation, but 3 plates on a pole, I usually send Okinawa. So now looking at the insulator, it is pretty similar to the Kyushu setup. So we'll have the transformers mounted 180 degrees from each other, so not facing the road and on opposite sides of the pole. And then we'll have the extruding bar mounted in the middle of the pole. And instead of like the Kyushu region where it's just a simple bar with some insulators at the end, we have this capital T. So a capital T. And if we look back at the Kyushu region, it is pretty distinguishable from afar as well. Like for this one, you've just got a pole coming out, but in the Okinawa region, you'll have another bar going across the end of the pole. So if we look at an example in the island here from far away, again, you can see the transformers aren't facing the road and it's coming out with a cross section at the T there. So that is basically what I've found to be the most useful meta for getting Japan. Of course, you will get rounds with no electricity poles or useful information like that. And from there, it's just like a vibe guess. But generally, you will get electricity pole and electricity plate meta to use. So now let's try and put that into practice. I'll go through Balance Japan and just play some games where I explain my guesses. So let's take a look at that now. Okay, so playing here on Balance Japan, we'll play No Moving. Let's get into it. Okay, so we've got a transformer here. As you can see, it's not facing the road. And then we've got this bar extending out from the top. As well, if we've got some plates here, looks like we've got a 2 vertical white plates, so not too distinguishable there. And if we look around for any additional information, we've got a insulator, a transformer on top of 2 bars, and it looks like with this extending out across here. Okay, so as we mentioned before, generally when you have these like the transformers mounted on 2 bars, that will narrow you down to the Tokyo region and the Hokkaido region. And as well, if we look at this pole here, there's nothing too useful about it. What about this one over here? Again, we've got the 2 bars protruding from it. So from what I can see, it looks like the end of the bar here is mounted at the end of the 2 poles. So in Hokkaido, if you'll remember, we have normally the bar is mounted at the end of one of the protruding bars, and the other bar goes out longer. And also the bar will be perpendicular to the placement of the transformers. So this should be the Tokyo region. And it looks like as well we've got a wooden plate here. So it should be pretty solid for the Tokyo region also fits with the plates. In Hokkaido, you'd most likely have a longer plate here, and it looks like we've just got the useless Tokyo plate. So let's go in this region over here, and we get the region just in Tochigi. Okay, so moving on to the next round. Looks like there isn't an insulator over there, but we do have one here with nothing too identifiable about it. Any plates? Okay. Looks like this insulator might be all we have to go off. So where's the water? It's kind of like a lake. I can't really tell if this is a transformer either. We do have plates here, so it looks like we've just got a standard vertical white plate with no transformers. So this is where it can come down to somewhat of a vibe guess, because I'm pretty sure this isn't a transformer either. So my best guess here with a vertical white plate. So again, for the vertical white plates, you have Hokkaido, but you can usually tell Hokkaido because it's got a longer white plate. The Tokyo region and these regions over here. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to vibe guess this one. My guess with like a lake would probably be the Chugoku region, but we'll see. Okay, it's all the way down in there in Kansai, but yeah, unfortunately no really useful information for us there. Okay, so now we've got a transformer here. As you can see, we've got the bar mounted, like the protruding bar mounted in the middle of the pole beneath the transformer. So when you see that, you're going to be in the Chugoku or Shikoku region, and we have the full triangle here, so all the way down beneath the pole and above the pole, which means we're going to be definitely this time in the Chugoku region. Okay, nice. Okay, so we've got some transformers up here. Nothing too particularly identifiable about them, so let's keep looking around. We've got a horizontal plate here. We've got another transformer over there with nothing too special about it, like no protruding bar or anything, and nothing useful there. So as I mentioned before, generally when you have no kind of special insulator meta and you can see horizontal plates, you are going to want to go for the Hokuriku region. So that's these three prefectures here. Let's go Ganasawa. Okay, and it's just Dojama, but yeah, get a good guess there. Last round here. Okay, looks like we've got maybe some transformer meta. Oh, definitely some here. Okay, so again, two insulators attached to a rectangle bracket, and we've got a protruding bar attached at the bottom of the rectangle bracket. Do we have plates here? And then we've got the plate here where it looks like there's writing right at the very bottom on either side of the screw. So both of those indicate you're going to be in the Kansai region. As in terms of where, maybe you go Kobe. Let's see. Okay, and it's just Osaka. But yeah, good game there, except for that one round where it was a bit tough to tell the difference or like get any useful information, but sometimes that can happen. Let's move on to the next game now, and hopefully we can hit all of the regions here. Okay, let's look around. Looks like we've got a transformer over there where we've got two connected to a square bracket. We have some plates here. We have a horizontal silver plate and a vertical plate. And do we have any other transformers? Looks like we've got one over there as well, but I can't really see it too well. So mainly based on the plates, we're going to be in the Tohoku region. Also as well, if we look at these, you can kind of make it out here, but we've got these like excess brackets on the insulator, which again is something you would find in the Tohoku region. Yeah, I can't really see, maybe because we're facing the pole, but usually you would expect a protruding bar to be at the top of the bracket. Maybe that's just not on this one, but I mean, we've got enough information to go to Hoku anyway. Looks pretty mountainy, so maybe you go in Akita. Okay, just a bit further south, but good guess there. Okay. Got a transformer here, which has some good meta as well. Let's just see if there's anything else we can see. No, it looks like it's just this pole. So again, very identifiable black plugs here, which would indicate the Chubu region, and we have this triangle connector, which again is always going to be Chubu. As well as that, we've got a Chubu plate here with these rounded edges. So looking around, probably go somewhere in Nagoya or north of Nagoya. Could be Mie as well, but we'll see. Okay, 42 k's away, good guess. Moving on to the next round now. Can't see any plates on these poles. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be one of those rounds. Got transformers here, which are very far away, but it looks like they're facing the road. So that rules out some options at least. I can't really make out any plates here. So it looks like it's going to be another bit of a vibe guess for this one, but we can rule out Kyushu and Okinawa. Oh wait, we do have plates here as well. So two horizontal plates. I guess that would make sense because I couldn't really make any distinguishing features about this insulator, but it was too far away to tell as well. But with those plates, we're definitely going to be in the Hokuriku region. These mountains, maybe we're somewhere south over here. So let's go in the Ishikawa mountains. Okay, and we're just over in the Niigata mountains. So get the region right there, at least in what was a pretty difficult round. Okay, so here it looks like we've got a silver vertical plate. And we do have we have transformers as well, which are mounted on 2 bars, and it looks like there's a wooden plate beneath them. So silver plate, of course, you find in Tokyo, or the silver vertical plate, and then these 2 bars with the protruding bar perpendicular to the insulators with like the uppercase T, means you're going to be in the general Tokyo region. So let's send there. Nice, 100 k's away. Moving on to our last round. So it looks like we've got another silver plate. So immediately thinking Tokyo, and yeah, confirm it there. And we have the insulated transformer, which again is mounted on 2 bars and has the T at the end. So can confidently send Tokyo again. So good game, get all the regions. Bit Tokyo heavy maybe, but okay, let's go again. Hopefully we can get some more like varied regions as well. We've got a plate here, a silver plate. Got some transformers here as well. Let's see. Okay, so it looks like we have 2 transformers with the protruding bar mounted beneath it. Initially with the silver plate, I was thinking maybe Tokyo, but it could just be like a worn away plate. So we're either going to be, from what I can see, in the Chugoku or Shikoku region. This here kind of looks like a full triangle connector. Let's look around. All these other extensions here are half triangle though. But I'm gonna rely on my vision and go Chugoku. Nice. So 70k is away there. A bit of a baity plate, but I mean, with the additional information, you are able to get the right region as well. So that's why it's important to look as much information as you can and base your guesses off that. Okay, so anyway, we've got 2 plates here. Maybe there's writing at the bottom there. And transformer mounted on a square bracket, it looks like, with the protruding bar attached at the bottom. Let's see if there's any other information we can use. Doesn't really look like it, but again, I think you can kind of make out numbers here with no logo as well. That's usually something you see on the Kansai plate, and looks like we have a Kansai set up here. So let's just go Osaka, and we are in Kyoto. So not a bad guess. Get the region. Around here. We're in a traffic light intersection, which is somewhat annoying because you usually don't get any close electricity poles or plates. We do have one over here. So either red or black text. I think it's probably red text, but either way, these black plugs here, and oh yeah, we've also got the triangle connector here. So Chubu is a good guess for this region then. I mean, it's the only guess for region. So let's see. Kind of looks those mountains. I don't know, maybe you go in the Mie prefecture then. See, no, just across the lake in Shizuoka. But again, we get the region. My region guessing within the region is pretty poor, but you know, I'm getting the region. So vertical NTT plate and then a horizontal regional plate. And have any transformer setups around? Doesn't really look like it, but luckily we do have a pretty distinguishable plate, which is the Tohoku plate. So let's just send somewhere in the middle here. Nice, just south of Sendai. Onto the last round now. Traffic lights again, but we do have... Okay, so lots of information here. We've got the plate, like a large plate here, which, like I said before, generally when you have the Enehia plates, you can get some really large versions of them. Doesn't look like there's any writing on this one though, but we do have the yellow arrow pointing up, which you find in the Chugoku region. As well as that, we also have red writing on our transformers. And yeah, that's pretty much all the information. You'll need to get that. So bars, usually it is mounted in the middle of the pole here, but I think this is just probably a bit of a different like protruding bar. But anyway, we've got enough information to go Chugoku. It's just in Matsui there. So pretty good game, 19,000 points. Get all the regions right, just kind of bad guesses within the regions. But let's play, let's get into another game. Okay, let's see. Kind of a cool round here. So we've got these transformers here on 2 bars, and you can see that because generally when you have transformers like supported by the 2 bars, if I go back to the Tokyo region here, so generally on the 2 bars you'll have these 2 like supports attached to it that go between the pole and the bars, and these are very distinguishable, especially if you're like super far away from the transformers themselves. One over here. So yeah, you can see those supports there. I would think that we're going to be in Tokyo as well, because it kind of looks like there's a wooden plate there. Any other information? like in the Tokyo region. Doesn't really look like it. We've got this cool tree here. Let's just go Tokyo. Nice, 60 k's away. On to the next one now. Okay, so we've got, looks like 2 transformers attached on a rectangular bracket with a horizontal silver plate and a vertical NTT plate, which means you are going to be in Tohoku. So like I said, in Tohoku, you can get these typical insulators that you get. They're mounted on a rectangle bracket with the bar connected at the top of the bar. So maybe here the bar isn't there, or it's just not visible, but with the plates as well, you can send this region pretty confidently. Okay. Let's see. Okay, looks like we might have to look at this transformer here. So from what I can tell, at least, we've got this kind of Chubu set up. So we'll have 2, like I didn't really mention it too much, but if we go to Chubu, oh that's Kansai, Chubu here. Yeah, so generally for the Chubu setup, I like mainly focus on this triangle connector here. Sometimes it's not always visible, but you will normally get these like 2 bars which go across the pole, and then the transformers will be connected on those bars. Go back to it here. Again, we've got those 2 bars going across, and it looks like they're connected to it. And this could potentially be a triangle connector. I just don't see the other side of it, but I mean, it's pretty much the only information we have to go on. Do we have any? Oh, okay, it looks like we've got a plate there. That could be the Chubu plate. From like my experience, at least, the Chubu plate is generally more yellow than white. So I think Chubu here should be a pretty good guess. And we get Nagoya. So good guess there. Okay. Here it looks like, so from first glance, we've got 2 transformers mounted at 180 degrees from each other, and then we've got a like a T-shaped bar extending out from beneath it. Do we have any plates? Got some plates there, and then we've got the like typical Tokyo plate as well. So in Tokyo, this was the main one you'd find. Sometimes as well you can get other variants of it in Tokyo. This is probably the one where you have like the insulators on the rounded plates. You just can't really see it, but I mean, again, we have those the insulator mounted on 2 bars with the support beams, which are very visible, and we've got a super close one here where you can actually see the wooden plate as well. So Tokyo region again should be pretty good. We're just in Yamanashi, so not too bad. Okay, this one, first glance, is there's nothing too special about that insulator, at least. Do you have any others, maybe? Okay, so we do have a Chubu plate here, and we have these black electric plugs. So Chubu is my, well, it's like a definite guess for this area anyway. Yeah, kind of weird the transformers for this region, but you've got the plates anyway to help out. So let's go over here. Nice. And we get 20k that round. So unfortunately we're not getting too many regions, but let's keep going and hopefully we can hit them all. Okay, so we've got the bar here connected at the bottom of the bracket, which is Kansai. Nice. Let's look look around here now. 2 vertical plates. We've got a T-shaped bar coming out adjacent to 2 transformers mounted 180 degrees from each other. Let's look around a bit more. Okay, but it looks like we do have these support things here, and you can kind of make out a wooden plate there. So Tokyo should be the go here. Nice. So here we've got the transformers mounted on a rectangle bracket with the protruding bar at the top of the bracket. Can't really see any other information. Might have plates here. Not really, but Tohoku region is the go here anyway. Nice. Okay. Yeah. Looks like with the plates we're going to be in the Tohoku region. Also we're on these circular discs, which you get in Tohoku and in Tokyo. So with the plates at least, yeah, should be a good send. Nice. Okay, this might be a good one. So we've got these 2 insulators mounted at 180 degrees from each other, and then we've got this single bar extending out with these insulators at the end. So that is going to be the Kyushu region. If we have, I think we just got an NTT plate there. Do we have any plates around here? Doesn't really look like it. But again, for the Kyushu plate, you'd expect to see like a 3-digit number beneath some characters at the top of the plate. So let's send there. And we actually get an island. Maybe I should have realized that with like the general quality of the image, but I was just focusing on the region there mainly. Okay, so I've played a few rounds now and haven't really got too much of the variety I was looking for. So I think what I'll do now is just include some highlights of the games I play with, specific metas that haven't come up yet, and just include them in here, and then maybe play a game or 2 at the end. So you should be seeing that now. Okay, cool. So here, this might be a new one. We've got the speakers on top of the insulators. Can't really see the plates, but you would expect them to be 2 horizontal ones. So you go in this region over here. Nice, 50 k's away. Okay, so here we've got white stickers on the bottom with black text. We've got 2 vertical plates, and then we've got, you know, you'd expect this to be a half triangle bracket connecting it to the pole there. So don't really get a clear view of it anyway, but I mean, with this white text at the bottom, you're always going to go Shikoku. Nice. Okay, so finally, it looks like we have an Okinawa round. So if we look over here, we've got a transformer that's like 180 degrees, we're not facing the road. And then as well, it's extended out with a capital T. And as well, if we look at the plates, so we've got 3 plates. We've got the NTT plate, then type 1 and type 2 plate. Also over here you can see those 3 plates lined up, so that is always a pretty good send for Okinawa. And it's actually the island even further south. But we've got an Okinawa around there, so pretty happy we've finally managed to get one. Yeah, and to finish the video I might just play a few more games, 1 or 2 maybe, just to explain as much as I can and hopefully really drive in those matters, which are very useful. Okay, so we've got a transformer here. It's on a circular base with a capital T bar protruding from it. So immediately you're thinking Tokyo. Of course, you also get the round plate in Tohoku as well. But everything here is kind of pointing more to Tokyo. But yeah, you obviously don't get this bar coming out in Tohoku as well. But, okay, nice guess. Okay, 2 horizontal plates, so you're going the Hokuriku region. We don't have any transformers, but you wouldn't expect to see like any bars coming out from them or anything. So anyway, let's go Hokuriku in Kanazawa. It was further south. Got the microphones on top of the transformer here, so you're probably looking at Hokuriku again. No special bars coming out or anything, and 2 horizontal plates. So let's go Kanazawa. Okay, looks like the NTT plate there. Transformer over there, but it's not too visible. And some transformers here as well. Okay, it looks like these ones are like 180 degrees from each other, not facing the road. Then we have a simple bar coming out with 3 insulators at the end. So that is Kansai region. Okay, nice, good guess. Got a transformer here on a round plate. And we've got the vertical NTT plate and horizontal Tohoku plate. So here you'd probably be expecting to see like a zigzag bar coming out. Actually, that might be it there. So a bit difficult to see, but anyway, we have the plates which help us out as well. It's down in Fukushima. Okay, let's play one more and round off the video there. Okay, immediately looking at these black plugs and the kind of like thinner connectors. Come around here. Have any other useful information? Another NTT plate. Actually, this could be a square bracket instead. I think it is a square bracket. And with like a vertical NTT plate, means you'd probably just go Tohoku. Yep. So a bit of a challenging round there, but my mind was between Hokuriku and Tohoku, but with the vertical NTT plate, that usually is just like a good send for Tohoku. This one should be Hokuriku with the microphones. We have just 2 plates here. Maybe go on Fukui with the mountains. Nice. Okay, we've got transformers on a rectangle bracket with a lowercase, like a cross or a lowercase t at the bottom of the bracket. We have any visible plates we can use as well? No, but it shouldn't matter because we do. This is the Kansai setup. So we go around here in Osaka, just north of Kobe, but not bad guess either there. Okay. Okay, this is really good as well, actually. So we have 3 plates again, and over here we have, actually these are on the square bracket. So let's look around for more information then. just 2 plates there. Okay, so this is why even when you see 3 plates, you don't just send Okinawa immediately, because looking at the transformer at least, you can still see the outline of a square bracket, and as well these transformers are not 180 degrees from each other, so they're both kind of facing the road. So with this, it looks like it's attached at the bottom of the bracket, so you would go Kansai again here. Okay, that might actually be like a spill one then. Let's just take a look at that again. So we're in the Chugoku region there. Let's take a look at this. Okay, yeah, so you do have red numbers, just a bit baity, because it was connected to the bracket instead of the pole, but yep, anyway. It's still kind of close to Hyogo, which might be why there's that that like similarity to the Kansai region, but okay, last round now. Okay, got a transformer over here, which is just connected to the pole with not really anything else. And we've got a Chubu plate here. Okay, so with this Chubu plate, I see like this kind of horizontal sticker here, and I don't really believe in it, but I also see the horror. Actually, do we have a vertical plate there as well? So my thinking was this horizontal sticker could just be the prefecture specific plate, and I think that's probably what I'm going to stick with. Otherwise, if it was the NTT plate, I would go Nagano. I might just send Nagano here just in case, but okay, nice. So it was the Chubu region, and that must have just been a region-specific plate to Shizuoka. But anyway, a 20k there, so not too bad. And that should conclude the video. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know if you want me to do any other countries, or if you want me to do more videos in this style. And thanks for watching. Peace out.